welcome to viewers watching in New Zealand and abroad to the inaugural Under-23 Auckland Hockey Forgesson-Archibald Shield, supported by Chester's Plumbing. And today we've got some great matches getting underway. We've got the Central West Wanderers versus the South East Storm, the second women's match today. I'm Michelle Prenville, and my commentator today is Joe Hanks. He's the man behind this awesome tournament that we've been able to get underway here at Lloyd Elsmore Park. Joe, how awesome is it to see hockey back up and running?
Yeah, good afternoon, Michelle. Yes, it's exciting. We're obviously a little bit of a scare last week with the COVID lockdown, but we're just happy to be here and get some hockey underway.
Yeah, so we'll take a little look at some of the teams or some of the players that will be competing. But the teams are comprised of all the clubs in and around Auckland. The South Eastern Storm has Howick, Pakuranga and Southern District clubs. The Central Cavaliers have players from Somerville, University, Grammar, Windsor and Auckland Indians clubs. And the West Auckland Wanderers, well, they have Roskill Eden, Western and Waitakere clubs. Now, a little history into why the Shield is called the Forgesson-Archibald Shield. Joe, can you give us a little bit of a history lesson on some of these guys?
Well, Ryan Archibald and Krystal Forgesson, obviously, they're fantastic Auckland legends of the game, both represented New Zealand, Ryan being one of the most capped New Zealand players around, and Krystal achieving a huge amount of caps across her career. So it was just fitting that those two were the name for this competition.
Yeah, Krystal Forgesson with 220 caps for New Zealand, and Ryan 327 and 135 and 105 Auckland caps respectively. Now, Auckland Hockey also thanks Krystal, who now resides in Christchurch, and Ryan for kindly lending their names, and I think Ryan will be joining us a little bit later for the final of the men's match. But also, we have to have a big thanks to Chester's Plumbing, because without them and Grant Chester, this couldn't go ahead.
Yep, definitely. Grant can't be here today, but everything that he does for hockey in New Zealand, in Auckland, in Harbour, and as you know, in Roskill, he's a great advocate for the game.
Yeah, so what are you expecting to see from some of these girls that we're going to get out on the field very shortly?
So I'm quite excited. So obviously the result this morning, the Wanderers team took the points, but I don't expect the South East Storm girls to lie low. So looking at people like Izzy Gill and Maddie Dorr to really take the game to them. So those would be the two to watch out for me. But also don't be surprised by Lucy Russ in the midfield. She's a key player there, and Hannah Stewart holding the fort at the back. Yeah,
the Wanderers this morning were able to take the win. It's a rematch of sorts. They're able to come back out, and the Storm need to try and, I suppose, get a win. And there'll be a bit of a grudge match out there between the two sides. But the girls are walking out at the moment. We'll start going through the list of names now. For the Central West Auckland Wanderers, number 1 is Michelle Mahoney, 2 Katie Dorr, 3 Jasmine Ma, 4 Megan Phillips, 5 Sienna Cowles, 6 Antonio Cortesi, 7 Shayna Narsai, 8 Emily Register, 9 Mariana Foster, 11 Phoebe Steele, 13 Zoe Summers, 14 Lucy Fuller, 16 Sophie Murray, 19 Rebecca Baker, 78 Arabella Loveridge, and they're coached by Chris Arthur and Vic Methvin. And the South East Auckland Storm, well, they've got a number 1 Olivia Grigg, 2 Neve Ferguson, 4 Sinead Venter, 6 Sophie Richards, 7 Mackenzie Thornton Butler, 8 Olivia Dodd, 11 Hannah Stewart, 12 Izzy Gill, 13 Maddie Dorr, 14 Zoe Taikamata, 15 Melanie Edwards, 16 Lucy Russ, 17 Madison Honick, 18 Alyssa Whelan, 21 Hannah Cardno, and they're coached by Sandy Mackey. And we had Sandy and Chris Arthur in the commentator's chair just earlier, and it was quite interesting learning their history as well as being past Blackstick. So there's a wealth of knowledge in this Auckland hockey setup, isn't there, Joe?
Yeah, it's great, and it's great to have a couple of women coaching, and also to see Tori Val coaching on the men's side. So just generally getting women out there to coach these teams was a really big factor for us.
And I also spotted in the men's game they had a female referee. Is that normal?
In this day and age, I think we're going towards that way. I think it's great. I think just being able to make it as equal as possible for everybody, all the opportunities.
Yeah, I think it's pretty awesome. You don't see that often at in any other sport. So it's good to see hockey kind of leading the way in that space as well. But we'll get underway for the women's match, and the Storm take the centre pass, and they're patiently passing around the back. Joe, what's the mentality for this team in order to try and get that win over the Wanderers today?
Well, I reckon they've got to get it to the key players more importantly. So certainly using the midfield players. I think Izzy, getting her on the ball, and I think getting loose in the ball will really help. I forgot to inform you though, Michelle, that Olivia Grigg actually got injured in the last game. So today's goalies are going to be shared by the Wanderers goalies. They're going to play a bit of time in both.
That's good sportsmanship, sharing your goalie.
Well, when you're running the competition, it's you can just make the rules up as you go. So.
that's right, Joe. So yeah, you're boss dog here today, so you get to call the shots. And how hard was it to be able to get a competition like this up and running?
Well, I actually spotted something similar in Australia happening around their region of origin stuff within a state in, I think it was Perth, and they actually had a North v South game, and I thought, geez, wouldn't it be good if we had a North v South competition in Auckland? And then we were thinking about the 21s kids, and we thought, they've missed out on a year of hockey last year with the competition and COVID, and we thought, well, why don't we make it 23s, because the year group that were 21s last year, they missed out. So it sort of all came together, and we were like, why not? We'll have 3 teams. We'll try to get 3 teams for the girls as well. But I just think it's great that we've got 70 guys out here, and a pretty tough time in your life between 18 and 23. You're going to make a few decisions, a few social decisions, and it's cool.
It is really good, and we've just seen some good little skill there from the Storm. But number 14, Lucy Fuller's got it off, and it's another turnover to the Wanderers. Phoebe Steele's playing today. She's also been in amongst that Black Sticks program. She missed the first game, but she's back out on the field.
Yep, so the Wanderers, Katie sits out for this game and Phoebe comes in, so not a bad little replacement for the Wanderers team, but I think that the team talk probably from Sandy will be about making sure that they step up their game and really cancel out those players who are calling the shots there. So I think the Wanderers will sit back and just let the blue team sort of play it around the back here, but I think when we see the Wanderers on the ball, I think it'll be the reverse. I think the blue team will come at them. Yeah,
they've just been able to turn the ball over. It's been a bit back and forth, but the Storm have it on that right-hand flank, and they'll try and muscle their way down the side of the field, but Maddie Dawes lost it. And the Wanderers have the ball now, so it can change just like that, hey Joe?
Yeah, it is, and yeah, now the Storm have got the ball, the Wanderers have got the ball now, so it's a bit of ping pong here, but I think that's probably maybe a few early nerves in the game.
What would you be telling the Wanderers as coach when they're trying to get this ball in the circle? Are they needing to spread it across the field a little bit better rather than push down one channel?
I reckon we struggle, certainly in New Zealand as a whole, around our attack in the circles. It's a good question. I think it's really important just to get to some key positions when you're coming in the circle. So a lot of coaches will talk about getting people into like the 90 position, so when someone's carrying in under the arm 90 degrees backwards, making sure someone's always at the back post. I think if you saw the boys' game earlier, there was a nice little deflection at the back post from a couple of those boys. Like that's a really, really, really key position. So if I was Sandy and Chris and Vic, I'd be making sure I got people to a couple of those key positions so you can tap it in at the back post. It makes it really hard as a goalie when that person's just floating around there, lingering on that back post.
Yeah, I don't know if you're talking about this to kind of lead into your Premier Hockey League debut last year where you were lingering around that post and managed to get a touch in. But Jasmine Maher and the ball going into the circle. Oh, the free hit to the Storm. But yeah, are you leading into that where you scored a miraculous goal in the Premier Hockey League?
Yeah, well, you know I'm a humble guy, Michelle, so I don't like to talk about it often. It's only been on my Instagram about 15 times. But yeah, I like those opportunities don't come around often for defenders. But I think, like the game was sort of coming towards the end, you've got to take a bit of risk. Here's a nice little break by Sophie, who's almost found Sinead there. So that's what we want. Sorry, going back to Storm, I think it's really important that Sophie, she's a really experienced player. If she can break through the lines there and link up with some of her teammates from Howick, like Sinead, I think they'll have a good job there.
Yeah, it's good that they're getting that height. Maybe just they're punching quite direct through, which I mean is good, but you're needing more players to support to change that point of attack.
And as expected, I said that the Storm were going to put on a high press, and they did that. But the Wanderers have actually done quite well to get out twice now through Megan and Emily Register and Zoe at the back there. I think Blue have got to continue that, though. I don't think that just because she failed once or twice that it's not going to work. So hopefully we continue to see the Storm putting pressure on that back group.
Yeah, we saw them in, the Wanderers in the first game putting heaps of pressure, really aggressive press. And, yeah, just like that, crunching the ball down, stopping the play and stopping their momentum going forward. Jasmine Maher just doing that right then on Alyssa Whelan.
Yeah, Jazz she's a quick player, and she covers the ground like really nicely in that defensive press. So I think she'll be key. I think it looks like they're trying to force it to one side, and then Jasmine rushes up there. So that's a nice little press that they're doing.
And that almost worked for Zoe Summers being able to get that interception, but the Storm, and she's got it now, so she'll try and find Phoebe Steele. Just a little bit loose of a pass.
It's just a little bit loose at the moment. I think it'd be nice to get to the break, and maybe the coaches can just have a couple of words around just staying a little bit composed in these situations, because another turnover here by Rebecca. Oh no,
almost by Rebecca Baker, but they managed to hold on, the Storm. But yeah, there's just been a lack of stringing those passes together, but we're seeing it now work together in the circle. Surely that's a penalty corner, but no, they're still working along that baseline, and it's a free hit for the Wanderers. Good defence there by Antonio Cortese.
Yep, Tony's a good little player. She's been involved in around our NHC program, our RPC program. I think she was sort of in the wider under-21 New Zealand squad a few years back, so she's got a lot of experience in that middle of the field. She's a Western Districts hockey player. She's
really gutsy. We're seeing her play for the Western club, really gutsy player, and she's been showing that today as well when she punches through that midfield. But still 0-0. Who's going to be the first to break the deadlock?
Yeah, well, we haven't had a goal shot here yet, so I'm hoping that we'll start to see a little bit more play up towards the goal mouth.
But you see here, the Wanderers are really pushing this defence now. They're asking questions of them, and Shane and Arsai weren't quite able to intercept that ball. But Megan Phillips got the touch. Good old Megan. So what club's Megan from?
So Megan's at Roscoe, so yeah, I've got the privilege. I've known Megan for a long time, so she plays for us at Roscoe, so does Sienna, who's on the ball there. But I know Megan and her brother very well, coached them down in little old Levin before both of them moved to the Big Smoke in Auckland and North Harbour, respectively. But Megan's, she's one of those players that's always in the right place at the right time. Like, she just goes about her job. She does it really well. And
I wonder if the heat is getting to these guys a little. Ball here, Shayna, she's really using her skill in the circle, and it's loose ball. But the passes just aren't stringing as nicely as what they were in that first game.
Yeah, so it was nice play from Shayna there. I reckon she carried in really nicely and tried to find a pass. But that's where I think she played it sort of into the middle of the D rather than looking for the back post, or if somebody was sat under the guard, then...
and that was a loose ball. Gosh, you want to be that person hanging around the post there.
Yeah. So again, I think that's Mackenzie there that's lingering in behind the back post there. So you've got to be in there to have the opportunity, otherwise you're going to struggle.
Because a lot of those balls are loose and around there. That's where a lot of the goals are scored, in that little 5 metre, there's a little metre zone, I suppose, in and around the goal face. So you've got to have those tight skills.
Yeah, you've got to be tight, you've got to be brave as well. Like, obviously, when people start hitting the ball hard, here comes Shane Anasa. She drives into the D. That's a bad little ball.
She's still got it. Can she work something like a penalty corner here or a shot away? And no, they've called it for the back of her stick. What do you think about, our circle penetrations? We've got the skill. We just need that confidence in taking those shots at goal.
Yeah, so as I was saying, you've got to have a bit of guts, and you've got to be brave, but you've also got to be a little bit selfish. The best goal scorers in the world are selfish because they love celebrating. So you saw my celebration at the Premier League.
Yeah, I think we all do. But yeah, you're right. You have to be really selfish and working this ball into the circle. Sometimes the pass is on, sometimes it's not, and if it's not on, well, you've got to make something of it. At the Storm here, we've got Maddie Dorr pushing forward. They've got a bit of a counter here. It's a 3-on-1, 2-on-1. Can we get a goal? No, good work, good defence from Zoe Summers.
Yeah, that was a nice little play. I think the Storm will be disappointed there. Like, there was a really nice 3-on-1 counter-attack created by Maddie Doyle. Like, she's got a huge amount of speed, but Mel linked up well with her there, so they're good Southern Districts teammates, so that they'll have a good connection.
Nice there again. Using her skills to get into the circle, but Sienna Cowles has the ball, gets it on the foot. And Rebecca Baker, gosh, she's a good little nippy player, isn't she?
Yeah, she's a good Wanganui girl. She started her career at Central, so she's a nuggety little player with a huge amount of skill. Here comes Izzy. Hopefully she can have an impact here.
We need people in and around the post. Oh, and that is going to the Wanderers. The crowd wasn't happy with that one, and I think rightly so it looked to be the Storm's ball, but hey, the Wanderers, they get things going, and looks like Karma's come into it and Storm get the ball back.
Yeah, well, the table has turned a little bit, so Wanderers had a couple of opportunities, and now the Storm have come back into it with, I think, 2 or 3 real good opportunities there, so at least we're creating these opportunities. I think the talk at quarter time should be based around our circle structure, I think. But as I mentioned at the start, if those key players can just get involved.
Yeah, they're looking to spread the ball quite quickly. That press from the Wanderers, they left a bit of a gap for the Storm to be able to look to transfer the ball to the other side of the field. And it's worked to the Wanderers' favour. They've got the free hit, but Zoe Summers will get things going. Nice little touch going forward. Can they keep things going? And no, it spills over the back of the baseline. So still waiting for somebody to break the deadlock. Not as high scoring as it started out in the previous match. But surely, with 5 minutes left until the end of the first quarter, the coaches will get their word in and get things going. Zoe Summers still on the ball, but it's a turnover, and the Storm will look to get things underway.
So the Wanderers just are happy to let the Storm pass the ball around the back and then sort of force them into the sideline and then turn it over. So
nice like there with Phoebe Steele on the ball. Can she get a shot away? Shayna goes for it, and she can't quite get her stick on it. That looks like a nice little penalty corner there from Sophie Murray. Nice little work onto the foot.
Yeah, I think that was that Phoebe Steele that turned out. It was a great little turnover in the middle of the field there. But I think that's the Wanderers' plan. They're just happy for them to pass it around the back and then either play it to the sideline, get pocketed there, or play it into the midfield and get pocketed there. So Storm needs to come up with a bit of a different plan. But I think if they stretch the field, they can open the Wanderers up a little bit. We saw it there with Maddie and Melanie on that last counter-attack. That would be my game plan. Use the speed, use the space, and don't play into the hand of the Wanderers.
Phoebe Steele at the top. She gets blocked, but she goes again. And that was a nice save from the Storm. Arabella Loveridge, great save.
Yeah, so Phoebe Steele at the top. That was a nice little...
well, good recovery, wasn't it?
Yeah, she had a nice second shot. It was well run down by the number 1 runner, so it's always nice to see someone being brave in that instance as well.
I mean, how tough is it for these guys? They've played a game basically a couple of hours ago and back it up again. Is that pretty hard work?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it will be. And the heat's obviously going up as well. It's the middle of the day. Like they've played 60 minutes before this, so it's always quite challenging back up in a second game. But we saw that counter-attack again by the Storm there. I think they've got to keep pursuing with that.
Yeah, they're working it up the field quite nicely. It's just the final phase, I suppose, that's letting them down where, well, all the Wanderers' defence is too good getting into the circle.
Yeah, a bit of both. I think, as you just talked about the heat, the fatigue is always going to play an impact in the second game. So maybe when you're not really concentrating when you come into the D, it's actually probably the place that you need to concentrate even more. Nice overhead. Here comes Shayna Narsai. She's got a nice little free run into the D.
Let's go, Shayna. Can she work some magic here? And she gets a shot away, but it's cleared out by Arabella Loveridge. We haven't seen much of the overheads from the women's game. The girls are just being told to take it back to the mark. The referees have been very strict on that today and making sure that the players get things going at the right mark.
Yep, well, we've seen from the speed from the Storm that they're quick, so when they want to play quick, that's the game plan, so they'll be a little bit disappointed about that, but they're coming through nicely here. Good interlink and play with Izzy Gill just then.
Is that Maddie Dorr on the ball? No, I think it's another. They all look very similar out there, don't they? But the Storm still have it and have possession. Hannah Stewart on the ball.
Yep, nil-all in the first quarter, so we've had a few opportunities, but nothing real clear at the moment. So hopefully we had that decision. That's a great little ball by Sophie again.
Too strong from Zoe Summers. She turns it over.
Yeah, Zoe's a really good defender, so she plays at Western as well, and she's got some really nice skills as well. She's a really composed player. She understands the game really well and reads it really well. So you've got to be a good player to beat her, certainly on the forehand as well.
Yeah, with less than a minute to go, you'd want to be the team who takes a bit of an advantage going into the second quarter. But I was saying to Aaron, I was saying to Sandy and Chris as well, goals can be scored in 10 seconds, can't they, Joe?
Yep, they can. So you saw in the boys' game last that they scored 2 or 3 without the goalie on, and they came in a matter of a minute, maybe 2 goals in a minute. So the game can change really quickly. So Megan's got a nice little hit here. So if normally she would hit the ball towards the goal with 14 seconds to go.
But it seems to be they're very happy just to be patient and ride this game out as the clock winds down. It's still 0-0. Still yet to see a goal in this final match between the women. But Joe, who was the standout for you in that first quarter?
So I thought Phoebe had a great little quarter there. I think she was the one that was dictating the press for the Wanderers. She certainly turned that ball over nicely in the middle of the field there. So Phoebe for the Wanderers. And the Storm, I think they've got a couple of players in there, just certainly using their speed. And their Sophie played some really nice balls through to the strikers. Maddie carried the ball quite nicely with a bit of speed, but I think we've just got to be aware of the Storm. I think the Wanderers might be taking it a little bit lightly because they won easily earlier.
I think is what's happening. I just saw a bit earlier Izzy Gill doing quite a nice little dump pass and looking to go forward and re-lead, which is quite nice because they're needing to get that height in order to get the ball into the circle. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see if they can kind of up the ante a little bit going into the second quarter, because it does look like there's some tired bodies, a little bit tired bodies out there. Tony Cortesy said to me after the first game that she didn't know if all of the girls' calves were going to hold out, but they're not used to playing two matches in a day. No,
they're not. Probably most of them would have played 2 games in a day at their last school tournament, maybe. Some of them 5 or 6 years ago, and some of them last year or the year before. So it does take it out of you for sure, but we try to give them as much break as possible and try and get the best out and make the squads as big as possible. So,
well, I mean, last year we had such an interrupted season, and it's just so awesome to be able to get any hockey kind of happening at the moment. And New Zealand is leading the world and demonstrating how you can get hockey games, sports games going in a COVID-infected world at the moment.
Yeah, I was watching the Highlanders Crusaders games last night. I saw the Zoo in good form down in Dunedin. Yeah. So they'll be stoked. They'll be stoked to have supporters at the Super Rugby games, and we're stoked to be able to facilitate this with our spectators. So you can't see on the camera, but we do have a grandstand below that's got, I think there would have been 100 or 200 people there for the boys, which is great for hockey to get people out here. The sun's out. The barbecue's going to get lit up soon. The cafe's open. You get some chips. So it's a nice little day out for people.
So Zoe Summers has just intercepted that, but there we go. I just saw Izzy Gill earlier, but they're wanting to get at the Storm. They're wanting to get things going and try and get some sort of attack into the circle. Nice little skill there.
So that was Zoe Takamata. I'm not sure if she played much in that first quarter, but she's a good little player as well from Howick. She's got an incredible amount of skill and speed, so it'd be good for... That'll just add to their speed that they've been shown this Storm side.
Nice sweet pass from Izzy Gill, but it's intercepted by Sophie Murray. She works her way and uses her skill, and she's got support coming through from Phoebe Steele. She's not afraid to look back, but then go forward as well.
It's a nice little turn there from Phoebe. She's just sort of showing her composure there. She's a very experienced player, so that was nice.
It goes back to Megan Phillips.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see what the coaches do. So Megan's playing at the back there. You know, and I know that she can score a goal or two, so that is a nice ball. So it's interesting to see maybe if Megan pushes up a little bit.
Can they get it to work? They're in and around the circle. Jasmine Ma, can she keep it? No. Referee doesn't like that.
That was a nice little ball, and good receive as well by Jasmine. She got the shot away real quickly, which is great for a striker. So Arabella's getting a little bit of a workout here against her team.
But that's what you want. You want it more, especially for the Wanderers. They want to be putting some of that pressure on them. Hopefully, at some point, the ball will just slip through, and that will be the first goal. But they're having to work for it. The Storm are making them work for it.
There we go.
And we've seen Maddie Dorr punch her way through. And there's some string of passes there, but Zoe Summers manages to get her stick on it. A little bit of a clash of the sticks, but it's heading up the opposite end of the field now.
Yep. So again, Zoe intercepting or tackling, doing a really stellar job of mopping up the mess, I guess, that the Storm are throwing at them.
She's a strong unit for them back there because the Storm are giving them, you know, they're trying to attack and they're trying to get through, but Zoe, yeah, as you said, mopping it up and able to kind of get an attack going. And here we see Tony Cortesy again. Rebecca Baker, she's got some nice little skill. Can she work some magic or a penalty corner even? Oh, that...
Good tackle there by Izzy. So that's a nice little matchup from the Premier League. So Falcons versus Izzy played for the Tridents. Yeah. So those two will know each other. They went through the under-18 program together. There's Shayna trying to turn into the D. Good tackle.
That was quite good from Shayna, but I mean, having 3 players on her, but she kind of wasn't going to be able to go anywhere with those 3 sticks in and around her.
No, it's always tough when you pass the ball to somebody on the at the top of the D. There's always going to be defenders trying to block you out. So,
what does the Storm need to do just to kind of go up a level?
It'd be nice to see them actually get a shot when they get in the D. So I think they're trying to work it to somebody for the perfect tap in, and I think sometimes it's just better to get a shot. You've seen Jazz get some shots away early. You saw Shayna get a shot away early. Like sometimes it's just better to get the shot away, especially when we haven't had much success. Test the goalie out and see if we get a rebound.
And even test the defenders. Try and, I think sometimes when you have a nice big shot and it can kind of tell your defender, hey, you better watch out because I'm going to crack this ball, or, you know.
Is that your secret, Michelle?
I try, Joe. I try. But here we go, Rebecca Baker.
Tackle by Izzy again. Nice work, Izzy.
They are having a good little match-up, those two.
I'm wondering whether the coaches have told Izzy to stick to Rebecca, because she's obviously a dangerous player. I don't know how she played in the first game, but she can create a lot of things for this team.
Megan crash ball into the circle, but no one there, no one home. So this is a chance now for the Storm to really try and string some passes together.
Yeah, one of the issues here with the Storm team is that they don't have any heights. You saw the ball just roll back there, and all their strikers are around the halfway line, so that pushes the defenders deeper back in the field. So you see when they're passing the ball around the back, it's really easy to press teams when they go so deep, and then the strikers are also deep and you congest the field. So you've got to actually spread the play out and allow your defenders to have a bit more space to play with, and the midfield, of course. Otherwise, the Western team are just going to turn you over with a press.
Good little roll there from Tony Cortese, knowing that a player was coming in behind her.
Yep, I think Vic is quite. She's a great coach, and she'll be a little bit disappointed about the opportunities created and not converted. So it'd be interesting to know what she said at half time, because again, the Wanderers haven't done a huge amount of goal shooting. So I think she'll be putting some more emphasis on that in the half-time break.
What I'd really like to see, and I quite like as a striker, is seeing these aggressive presses and really putting pressure on the defenders. And I feel like both teams could be doing a better job at trying to really question those defenders as to where they're going to throw the ball or try and crunch them. We're starting to see it now. Storm are doing good. They're pushing up, and when the team pushes up, that's when you try and get a turnover.
Yes, that was nearly a really nice press there, and Izzy was very close to intercepting it. But I think you're right. I think they do have to, and you do have to put pressure on the defenders. I'm a defender. I get put under pressure all the time. You've got to question the defenders. You have to put pressure on them.
Well, I think also if you want to try and get some of those good turnovers, you've got the whole team ready to punch up, especially up here right now. Let's go. Come on, Wanderers. Put some pressure on, and then hopefully a quick turnover.
Yeah, it's just a little bit slow at reacting to that. But here comes Rebecca. She's quick, but she's been turned by Maddie here, who punches through the middle of the field.
And so, of course, Maddie is in the Black Sticks women's program. She's a pretty tough contender to be up against for some of these girls who haven't had a taste of that Black Sticks environment yet.
Yeah, it's been awesome that Katie's been here today as well, and Maddie's here, and those guys that have been in and around the New Zealand stuff for a while just gives these girls a little bit of a role model to look up to, but also, like, not every day do you get to play against these guys. So here comes Storm. Let's see if they can make it.
Good stuff from the Storm, just being able to work that through.
Yeah, playing against tough players every week is how players improve. So having the likes of those girls here is great, and adding Phoebe Steele in there.
Well, I suppose it puts a bit of a target on their back as well, which for them is hard. But for these other players, you must, when you're coming up against the likes of Maddie Dorr, Katie Dorr, Phoebe Steele, you think, righto, if they're in the Black Sticks, that's where I want to be, and I want to push for that for myself.
Yeah, so you can have the other side of the coin though as well. Some of them actually get scared and give them a lot too much space and a bit too much respect. But some of them, they try and give it to them, which is great. It challenges the Black Stick skills, but it also gives you a bit of an indicator about how you match up against the Black Stick, which we all want to do. We want to compare ourselves.
And we're seeing that in this match. All of these girls are giving it their best shot. Nice crash ball, but no deflection coming from there.
Yeah. So nobody there. Nobody sort of really sitting around where the goalie is there. There's a turnover. Izzy Gill's got it.
Penalty corner. That's our first for the match.
Second. We had one from the Wanderers, but this is first for the Storm.
So we'd been seeing in some of the previous games whether they set up with one bracket at the top of the circle or two. What's the purpose of one or two?
One makes it easier for defenders to run at, so they've obviously got to choose one if there's two, so it makes it a little bit more difficult if there's two. But certainly at the higher level, they do a lot of scouting around who's sitting at the top, so who's a drag flicker, who's not a drag flicker, who's just there to make up the numbers. And
they've set up two here. Maddie Dorr will drag out to the first bracket, where Izzy Gill does a drag flick, and, well, easy as that. That's a goal.
It's a nice flick from Izzy Gill, but Izzy's got a nice little flick on us, so the Wanderers should really have known about that. So I'm wondering why they haven't run that down.
It was quite an open shot didn't have a fast runner out to her. It was quite easy for her to flick that away.
Yeah, I think that's really important with penalty corners though. If you have somebody that drags out well and fast, and you have somebody that traps like dead on the top of the D, it just makes the flicking so much easier.
So here we see Sienna Cowles up the right-hand flank, and she flicks it off to Shayna Narsai. Back to Sienna Cowles. Can they string something together here? caught up around the goalie's feet. And the Storm get the free hit.
There's some really nice interlinking play from Shayna and Sienna.
Would have been nice for them to come away with something, a result of some sort, whether it be a penalty corner or a goal. A goal would have been nice, because at the moment it's 1-0 to the Storm with 6 minutes left in the first half.
Yeah, and obviously with field goals you get the extra bonus point opportunity, so that changes the game.
Emily Register on the ball, she gets it off to Rebecca Baker. She shows some nice little skill, Rebecca Baker. And they're able just to transfer the ball across the field quite easily.
Little turnover here. It was good play. It was nice. They're very good at that, the Wanderers team. But they've got a really experienced group at the back there with Zoe, Sienna, Megan, Emily, and then obviously Tony and Rebecca in the middle. And then you had Phoebe. And that's a pretty solid group of girls with a lot of experience, a lot of skill, a lot of talent. So having that capability is great. But you do have to go forward, and you do have to create opportunities as well. So,
I mean, this is such a strong group of players for Auckland. I mean, when you do play at a level where they come up against the Harbours, the Canterburys, how do you select that?
Oh, nice play. She got a shot. That was a nice little play there by, I think that's Neve Forgesson. She just had a nice little break into the D there. Was a bit hesitant on the shot, as we were talking about earlier, but it was a nice little play to get in there. That's a good question. Like, we got 30 odd girls here and 45 boys plus here. So if you were selecting one team, that's pretty difficult. The beauty of the way that tournaments are going in hockey is at the moment we can have two teams. How you select those, whether it's an A versus B or two equal teams, and spread their people around, it's up to the associations. But it is really, really difficult. And back in the day when it was just one regional team, that's hard, especially when there's you can name 11 players here, but then you can name another 11 that are just as good. So we're lucky in Auckland to have that, really lucky, and it's great that we've been able to call back some of these people. So a little bit behind the story though, like a couple of years ago we had an under-21s campaign, and we only had 9 girls trial.
Gosh.
So we really struggled, and we had to try and find girls, and they sort of just disengaged with the program.
Rebecca Baker, she just takes a tumble there. And the Storm's been given a card. That's 15. Melanie Edwards, she's been sent to the naughty corner.
Yeah, a couple of minutes to just think about what she's done there. Yeah, so we had 9, and it was a bit of a struggle, and a lot of girls just not really engaged with Auckland hockey or hockey in general. As I mentioned, you go to university or you go to work or you have an apprenticeship, so you're making decisions in your life that you haven't had to make, and hockey doesn't always fit in there for everybody. So when we said this, a free event, 4 weeks, training and a conditioning program and 1 day, all these people were like, yeah, that's great, that's awesome, like we'll get on board. So we're really lucky, and hopefully now we can re-engage with them so we never have that scenario again.
I mean, it's a great day. We've had, in total there's going to be 5 games of hockey, which is absolutely incredible. To be able to even have that amount of sport happening in the world that we're living in at the moment. Rebecca Baker takes a shot, but it's saved by Arabella Loveridge. But the Storm get the free hit anyway. With less than 3 minutes to go, the Storm have a 1-0 lead. The Wanderers need to try and get a turnover somehow and get it back up into that attacking D and try and score a goal. Little breakaway here, but Zoe Summers is all over it. This is Izzy Gill again. She's showing she can control the ball. But just spills over the back.
Yeah, 2 minutes left here, so this is always a critical time in the game. 2 minutes before half-time or 2 minutes before quarter-time. Like a lot of coaches talk about just being switched on a little bit more, because you can see goals in these last 2 minutes when you're just like waiting to get your drink or waiting to get your jet planes, and you just switch off a little bit early.
Nice little turnover here. You have to remember, in this first matchup between these two teams, it was the Wanderers who were dominating and taking the win, but in this match, the Storm have the upper hand. 1 minute left, 1 goal with 2 minutes left. The Wanderers have the ball at the back with Megan Phillips. Goes to Zoe Summers. Can they work some magic up the field to Rebecca Baker? She runs onto it. She's got Shayna Nasai up ahead. Just can't get it working.
Yeah, so both teams have been really good from the back out, or when they turn the ball over in the midfield, they're good at going forward and getting towards the attacking 25. But as we've seen, just the last 25 has just been a little bit, they're not so sure. I think they're just a little bit nervous, maybe not so confident with their ability to hit the ball or push the ball towards the goal.
And isn't it just great when you do see that confidence come through these players? And, you know, that's when the magic really starts to happen, hey? You see goals, you see them do that skill that, you know, they probably aren't used to maybe doing, but it actually works well. And then, hey, they do it again and again and again, and then you start to see some really good hockey.
Stormer bring it. It's almost a nice press there.
Yeah, they need to keep the pressure because they do have the Wanderers under the pump.
But the Wanderers have done well to get out here. So here comes Phoebe Steele. 20 seconds to go. Can they
get it in the circle? 20 seconds left. They need a penalty corner at least, but flicked it onto each other's feet. And here we go. Maddie Dorr, the black stick, making her way up. Oh, and right when the hooter goes off, they just can't do it. But the Storm, they have a 1-0 lead after the first half. The Wanderers, well, they're going to have a big chat at halftime now just to figure out what they can do. Stick around, we'll head into an ad break and we'll have more afterwards.
Can camera 4 come on?
And we're back into the second half at Lloyd Elsmore Park. Beautiful day, isn't it here, Joe?
Yeah, it is a nice day. There was a little bit of rain, clouds passing by, but luckily we've missed it. So the sun has been belting down on the turf, and I do feel sorry for the players.
Now, what the players are all competing for today is the Forgesson-Archibald Shield. They're up against all their club players in and around Auckland. And at the moment, for the women's match, the South East Storm, they're up 1-0 against the Central West Wanderers. Now, it's a bit of a different match from what we saw this morning. The Wanderers managed to beat the Storm, but now the tables have turned in this one. And we're in for a really tight match this afternoon, aren't we, Joe?
Yeah, I don't hold your breath. I think the Wanderers are going to come out and really give it to the Storm in the second half because they've got the players. We've talked about the players. They just need to be a bit more clinical going forward, certainly inside the D, but again around the 25. But it'll be quite an exciting game if the Storm score another one and go 2-0 up though.
Now, if you were Chris Arthur out the back of that dugout, and Vic Methvin, what would you be telling your Wanderers team?
Well, a couple of things that we've talked about already. I think one would be that press. So if they can actually be putting pressure on the back group rather than just letting them play it out and letting them make the mistake rather than forcing them to make the mistake, I think they'll actually turn it over inside the D or they'll turn it over near the top of the D so then they can create those opportunities straight away. And then just get the circle structure right. When we come in the circle, have a plan, know where people are and try and connect with them.
And look at that, we've got some people out here watching, and if you're in Auckland and you're watching this live stream, don't keep listening to us. Come down to the turf and see it for yourself.
Yep, we've got one more game with the boys competition coming in at 6 o'clock, which will be an exciting game between the Cavaliers and the Wanderers.
Yeah, so we'd also seen earlier on the Storm for the men. They've been absolutely dominating. They've got to double digits, I think, each game. 10-3 in the second game, 12-0 in the first game. So that's absolutely incredible.
Yeah, they've got a really good group. So I've watched them through the training in preparation for this, and the two sides, Southern and Howick, are really strong teams in the intercity competition. So they've been, the Southern boys are with Aaron, who you had on earlier, and Simon Child and Marcus Child. They get coached by those guys whilst playing with those guys week in, week out. And the Howick boys have Hugo, Blair Tarrant, Kane Russell. So they're playing high-end hockey week in, week out with those guys. So it's not a surprise.
The Wanderers here just doing their last little chant before they get out there, and the Storm, they're set up, they're ready to go.
Yep.
The Wanderers, though, they need to get on the board. If they get a field goal, they have a chance at a bonus point, and that bonus point is a penalty shootout with the goalie, which can take them ahead. So they get things going, and it's Sienna Cowles out the back. Already early pressure from the Storm, but Zoe Summers shows her skill, gets it on the foot, and there you have it. She's taken the free hit.
That was good intent from the Storm straight away.
That's kind of the intensity we're wanting to see, and that maybe wasn't quite there in that first quarter. Is just really be just like we're just seeing right there, number 4, Sinead Venter, be a little bit of a menace in and around the ball and make it a hard time for them.
Yeah, well, we've only got 34 minutes left to play now, and then they can have a rest, they can have Sunday off and get back to enjoying life. So they really do need to leave it all out there, to be honest, and hopefully the Wanderers do. But the Storm have turned it over here as they carry forward.
And they're going up the field here, the Storm, but Rebecca, Sophie Murray, has the ball. But that's what we're liking to see. The Storm are coming through, turning the ball over and team tackling.
Yeah, so Mel's done quite well here to work with, I think it was Zoe Takamata there.
Yeah,
it's nice turn.
Very
good. Can she go into the D?
That's just
There
nice
we go.
little skill. Gets the foot of Megan Phillips just outside. And can they look to get the ball in there somehow? I thought that was quite a good tackle there from Tony. Cool to see, but it's still Storm ball.
That's probably why you're not an umpire, Michelle.
I'd be telling the umpire otherwise,
Isn't that the truth?
Megan Phillips gets the rebound. She's going to try and clear that out. There has been a couple of cards here today, but no back talking, which has been really nice to see because, of course, the umpires have come out and...
Yeah, it's been good to see the umpires. So they're wearing nice green shirts with chests slapped across the front, which is awesome to see. Here comes Sinead. Can she create something?
I think that's gone over the baseline. I got that call right, didn't I, Joe?
Yeah, it's easy when you're in the bird's eye position to make calls. Yeah. No, the umpires have been good today. It's great for them. They've had 10 different umpires take part in today, which, 5 games, our players have doubled up, but they haven't. But it's good to expose those guys to some of this. And the 8-second shootout in the middle of the games is a new rule for them, and they've taken it really well. So here comes Zoe, good strength.
Yeah, Zoe's going up there, but just turns the ball over. It's Olivia Green. Zoe's back with the ball, and the Wanderers just need to try and get something on. Can she get the shot away? But the goalie saves it. And the Storm, they'll try and make their way back up the field, but Jazz Ma gets a touch to it.
Yeah, that was nice play by Lucy Fuller a minute ago. She nice little left to right, and we saw her winding up for a big shot. I think sometimes when you're in there, it's tempting to wind up. But to be honest, I'm happy that she got a shot away, because we haven't seen much of that.
Yeah, because we were just saying earlier, in that tight-knit zone, it's when you kind of need those little skills. You don't need to be winding up for the big shot.
Here comes Zoe.
And that's off into the baseline, and the Storm will take a free hit. 1-0 in this match between the Storm and the Wanderers. Lucy Russ takes the ball, goes back.
Yeah, I think actually Storm have had a lot more of the play than the Wanderers, which is good to see. Like they'll be wanting redemption after this morning.
Totally, and you've seen their level go up a whole new level in this match as well, because they needed to after that first one where they couldn't get the win over the Wanderers, and now they've managed to get a bit of a game plan that shuts the Wanderers down and even being able to get into the circle. There's a loose ball. The Storm clear it out and they keep possession.
Well played by Lucy Russ there. She's got some really tidy skills, and she's very quick as well. So it was a nice little break past three people. Tried to link up with Izzy, but the ball just rolls off the edge. There.
So for some of these guys, it doesn't stop. Like, they're playing this under-23 tournament, but they've still got hockey matches coming up in the Auckland area.
Yep. So the intercity competition, which is the competition between Auckland club teams and North Harbour club teams, starts on the 13th of March. So I'm confident that about 95% of these girls will be involved with a Premier team, and pretty much all of them will be involved in the Premier throughout the year. So, yeah, they're straight into the season.
Here we go for the Storm. Just trying to shovel it on a little bit there, but Sienna Cowles is able to get control of the ball. And it's back with the Storm. They're calling it out, but that could have been a nice little crash ball across the goal face, and deflection, goal time.
Yeah, this will be a game changer here if Storm actually sneak a goal in, because going 2-0, it puts the pressure back onto the Wanderers. It means you've got to go for the field goal, or you've got to be really clinical in getting your penalty corners and getting those outcomes. So I'm backing the confidence from the Storm and the speed from the Storm that they might actually come away with a sneaky goal here.
That was nice little work there from Emily Register, just able to keep control of the ball. But it's back with the Storm. They're going to punch ahead. They're looking good. Shot away. Jeepers, that was a good save from Arabella Loveridge. Can they get the shot away, the Storm? It'd be great to see some strong strikes on goal. Izzy Gill works it to Maddie. Falling at the back of the stick, that one.
Good pressure, as I mentioned, and Megan does a nice little job. She's good at that, just releasing the pressure. She'll be feeling that the Wanderers are under it a little bit there, but the Storm did really well there. I think turned the ball over 2 or 3 times. There was a bit of double turnover hockey, a bit of ping pong going on, but the Storm have got their tails up here. I'd just like them to take a bit more time when they come in the D. So those balls are coming across. They're now getting shot away, but Can we be a bit smarter about maybe finding that person at the back post, or can we find that person with a nice little push pass? Sometimes we go into the deep just too quickly, rather than just slow down and assess the situation. I think you were talking about that earlier.
Nice work from the Storm now. They're keeping possession. I'd like to see a little bit of a change of pace. It's nice when you see them get the ball, but then really explode into some space. Some of the girls are looking really good in that aspect of the game. And when they do it, it makes them look really lethal and goal-scoring kind of opportunities. And they're fast enough to do it.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's all part of getting experience as a player, is understanding when to do those situations and when to use them. Some of these girls, it might be the first time they've played something of this sort of level with the high speed. Lucy Fulham, she nearly turned the ball over there. It was almost there.
Making a mistake on that hit, but the Wanderers, they've got to do something with less than 10 minutes in the third quarter. It's 1-0 here in this match. They've got to come up with some magic now, the Wanderers. Megan Phillips pushes it through. Maybe patience could work for them. Just waiting to see when those gaps open up. And Sienna Cow wasn't too happy with that one, but they've still got the ball. You're hearing the cheers down below. We're hearing the cheers for Maddie Dorr. There's people coming in. They heard us calling out for people to come. Shayna Narsai on the ball.
Yeah, it was great to see in the last game the Western team. There was a good group of Avondale people coming here to support the Western boys. They were really enjoying it, getting in behind the boys, jeering when some skills. Almost felt like I was at like an NBA game or something, and people were getting jeered for getting the ball taken past them. But that's cool. Like, those Western boys will be loving having those guys there.
Well, I mean, we were talking about it earlier, some of these guys didn't get an under-21 tournament last year because of COVID. So when you're that age, and Joe, you were once that age, I think it was, about a decade ago, jeepers. But how important was it playing those under-21 tournaments? That was a close one from the Storm.
The 21 tournament's a great little tournament, and everyone enjoys playing it because when you do leave school, you don't have that school hockey where you're seeing those guys that you play with week in, week out, or against.
And then there's one more quarter,
people take different directions in life. So 21s is a great little tournament, and unfortunately it's not around anymore, but that age group, they just want to play with their mates. They want to have a good time with their mates. So, 21 was great, wasn't it, Michelle?
Yeah, it was just a couple of years ago for me. Some people, though. That's all right, You go on to Masters, Joe. The Masters tournament's happening next week.
It is happening next week. I'm about 4 years away from that, though.
Yeah, I know. That's why I'm saying you're old.
So, the Masters tournament, there's 92 teams there next week in Tauranga. So with the weather's beautiful in Tauranga, you're one of those people that comes from Tauranga, so you always know who's from Tauranga because they always talk about it. Yeah. So it's a lovely place. There'll be a lot of alcohol drunk, and there'll be lots of hockey played as well with 92 teams. So credit to Tauranga Hockey New Zealand. That tournament, it's awesome.
But still, the Wanderers just can't. They had a little opportunity there, so with Shayna Narsai on the ball, but they just can't put real pressure on that Storm defence.
No, it's a nice little carry out by Hannah Cardno there. She's a bit lucky there, but she did well to carry the ball out there from quite deep.
Oh, that was a cracker getting underway, but the Storm still hold that possession. Maddie Dorr gets things going pretty quickly, and they're already in the circle and looking. That was a dodgy tackle, that one, and we've got a player on the ground. And that is Zoe
Takamata
on the ground. That was a Maybe her legs cramped, but it looked like a swing.
Yeah, I think she might be. It ended up being a good tackle, but I wonder whether there was a bit too much stick involved in that. They could have a case there, the Storm, for a penalty corner. But it was a nice little play by Zoe. I think she cut back in field then, and she was just a bit hesitant about winding up for the shot, and I think Sophie was the one that made the tackle there. So good though from the Storm. They're still looking threatening.
And look, this is just great sportsmanship. You've got Wanderers players stretching out their competitors' calves. I mean,
you can't get much better than that, can you? And here comes Libby Gregg. I think she's the designated. She's injured. You can see the strapping on her leg there. She's the injured goalkeeper.
Get rid of her.
Now the physio.
She's broken,
trying to help out this situation.
But once, a little bit unstable getting off the field there, but I think she can laugh at herself, and I'm sure she'll be fine when she gets off. I just think it was a bit of a case of cramping, wasn't it?
Yeah. Well, second game in the day, I think cramp's always going to sort of sneak into some of the players.
So whose free hit will that be?
It should be a free hit to the Wanderers, because I think the Wanderers made the tackle, and they'll just be given the ball there. But I think the Storm are making a case for it's their ball. And the Wanderers don't look too happy here. They might have actually turned the ball over. Oh no, the Wanderers do have it.
Wanderers have the ball.
They'll be happy there.
Yep, and that is Sophie Murray on the ball. She'll get things going. Back to Megan Phillips. The ball's, it's quite bobbly at the moment. Do you think the turf's maybe a bit dry? Or?
Yeah, I think so. Obviously with the heat we've got here at the moment, the turf is drying out quite easily.
Nice turnover here from Maddie Dorr. She's going to use this for sure. And into the circle for Sinead Venter.
In the corner, well played, Sinead.
We haven't seen a penalty corner for a little while now from these guys, so 1-0 up. It would be nice to see some goal action.
Yep, and Izzy Gill's on the field, so I'm anticipating a drag flick from her.
Nice.
She'll be the. But if I was the Wanderers, I'd definitely be trying to run hard at Izzy. So, but they do have a good drag out. They have a good trap. But they could play. They could go with something else here, but it's not looking likely.
Yeah, the Wanderers need to really run out at this and contest the ball at the top, because if it is a drag flick from Izzy Gill, she'll get it in. They go for the short ball, sweep in, and God, that ball was just begging to be put into the back of the net, wasn't it?
Yeah. So again, nobody in the back post, but a nice little variation there.
The space was there. They just needed to get, come on, we needed to see some diving or something, just get some sticks to it. But
that's not a good pass, and Zoe's turned it over. Here comes Mel.
Good
shot.
Nice try. Bodies on the line. That's what we like to see from the Storm.
Yeah, the Storm are doing well. That was a nice little turnover and good little flick to Mel, and great to get that reverse shot away. I quite like that penalty corner. When I lived in Hawke's Bay, we used to call that the Wanganui, because Wanganui used to do it every single corner against us, and they were bloody good at it. So it's a nice little variation.
The little Wanganui.
Yeah, that's not trademarked. You might have to check with Wanganui. They might want it trademarked. We'll ask Rebecca. She's from Wanganui, so she.
Well, she's on ball at the moment, so she's. I'm sure she'd be more than happy to give Wanganui a name somewhere in hockey.
Yeah, there's some great hockey players come out of Wanganui, so that was back in the day though. I remember I'm a little bit older than Rebecca's, only 19, and I'm a little bit older than that. Here comes Tony. Nice shot, but it's called a free hit against. So the Wanderers with their first real attempt in this third quarter with 13 seconds. We talked about that 2 minutes, being careful there. So the Storm have got away with one there, because Tony can score goals. So
just counting down the final seconds of the third quarter, and the Storm still there, 1-0 up. The Wanderers yet to get on the scoreboard.
We might have maybe an extra minute here with that Zoe getting cramp. And the Storm, they'll just keep possession here. They don't really need to force anything too much. No, they're 1-0 going into this third quarter, fingers crossed, with this last little bit. But they really should just hold on to it, try and play out the quarter and put the pressure on Wanderers for the last quarter. And it'll be interesting to see what Vic and Krystal do. Will they take the goalie off? Did they watch the last game? Because
drop some
you take it off, you play it. It's a big risk. But I like that move from Jimmy Grant and Tory. I think that's taking the goalie off is a good play.
Well, they needed to, because in that last match, they were down against the Storm, so they had to do something. And at the moment, the Wanderers, they also need to come up with some magic of some kind, whether it be taking the goalie off or getting a penalty corner. But at the moment, it's the Storm who have possession. But Shayna Naso is wanting to change that up. She's got the ball out wide, looking for some players. And she finds Jasmine Ma. Jazz flicks it through the feet. Tony, can she get the shot away? Oh, no one on the post, but gosh, it's good. Nice to see some goal striking action. Tony's done 2 shots in the past
I think that might have been Phoebe, actually, just looking out there now.
Phoebe Steele.
So we've had Tony and Phoebe in the last 30 seconds of the game.
And that's good. I mean, that's the kind of pressure we want to see from the Wanderers.
They're not turning the water on again, are they?
Bit of a sigh of relief as they go into the third quarter 1-0 up.
Yeah, because they were really piling on the pressure there, those Wanderers players. But it's only 1-0. They've still got time. They've still got a whole nother quarter to be able to come back and find some goal-scoring action. But remember, they are playing for the Forgesson-Archibald Shield, named after some of Auckland hockey's greatest players. And Joe Hanks happens to be the man who came up with this awesome little tournament that we have going on here.
Yeah, it's been a good day with plenty of goals, plenty of action, and I'm picking a quite a frantic last quarter. If I was the Wanderers, I'd be, you want to get the win here to secure the trophy. You don't want to win easily this morning and then not really take it to the other team in the second game. When you have had opportunities, they've had goal scoring opportunities, then they just haven't taken executed them that well. So
Sandy Mackey's just talking to her team there. Sandy is a former Black Stick back in the day, and she's up against Chris Arthur, who coach of the other team, was also a Black Stick in the women's team. So we've got some experience coaching these two sides, and Sandy no doubt will be giving them a stern word, just saying, come on girls, keep it on.
Yeah, definitely. Hopefully they seem to start the quarter well. They had a lot more of the play in that quarter again, so it's about keeping the sometimes about keeping the pedal down. Like, you don't want to take it off, because as you saw then, if Tony gets the ball or Phoebe gets the ball, that's dangerous. And then, it'll only take 1 or 2 opportunities for Jasmine to be on the back post or Shayna to be on the back post, and those guys will tap it in. So it's a dangerous game if you think you're just going to ride a 1-0 victory out here for 17 minutes in your second game when you're tired.
Yeah, well, we've seen it even in the club competition. You can be leading a whole match, and it just takes this final quarter to find out who's the fittest team or who's not, and who's able to come up with the goods and get the goals in the back of the net when it really counts. So Wanderers, they've taken this centre pass and turned it over already.
Yep, so this is where the Storm get in trouble, is when they're so deep back in this pocket. Like, they seem to just get pressed quite easily. So you see Shayna's so close, and Sienna's got it now. So it's just dangerous when you're that deep in the field.
Sienna Cowell's got it again. She passes straight into the circle, which she can't do. You've got to take that ball at least 5 before you can have a circle entry. And that's just a bit of a missed opportunity, isn't it, Joe?
It is, because Phoebe was in a great scoring opportunity. They've actually moved Phoebe up front now, so that's a real nice move from Chris and Vic.
Yeah, just changing it up, hey, and maybe trying to get the ball to her, but this is Zoe again. She's gone over her calf. It's a goal!
Great spot by Mackenzie.
And that just shows good positioning, hey, in the goal circle.
Yeah, and great body position as well to one-time that in. But Zoe, nice little skill on the edge of the D, driving along the baseline, once she has the ball out in front and she got her eyes up, it's really easy to just find Mackenzie. You see Mackenzie drops in there, not being marked.
Yeah.
Great little finish there.
Too easy. And so because of that goal, because of that field goal, they took the penalty shootout, which has now taken them to 3-0 up. So this is the penalty shootout, the bonus point.
Sinead Venter. Nice little change of direction.
Slips it right through the goalie's legs.
Arabella will be disappointed. You see her hit the stick in the ground there, but nice little finish by Sinead. So 3-0. That's a huge turnaround from this morning.
Now the Wanderers, they're on the back foot here. Zoe's, she's gotten over that calf strain. Back out on the field, setting up goals, getting free hits, and
probably some jet planes and
yeah, I reckon the jet planes did it. And it's back in the circle again. Penalty corner. That was great hustle from Mackenzie Thornton-Butler. Just being a little bit of a pest in the circle can really pay off.
Yep, and that's a good word for what strikers can be. They can be quite a pest.
But
and
they need to be.
They do need to be because us defenders, we like to be on the ball and just prance around and distribute the passes.
Exactly.
We don't want to be doing all this nuggety thing like actually marking and defending.
Yeah. And so even if a striker can get their stick in, that just does so much. But Izzy Gill, drag flick, great save. But the Storm still have the ball and Megan Phillips gets a touch on it. She wants some of that action.
Yep, that was nice. A good save by Arabella from Izzy Gill's drag flick, and then falls to the Storm at the top of the D, and they try to play it across. I like the thinking though, trying to get it across the face of the goal and get that deflection, because that's difficult for Arabella, but didn't quite execute. But they've definitely got their tails up. 3-0 up now. This is going to be a tough ask for the Wanderers. I have no sign of the goalkeeper being removed.
I think they'll want to leave that to the last bit, won't they? Last 5-7 minutes.
Yep,
but I mean, they're not leaving it much time. But Sienna Cowles is coming up the field. Strong on the ball, that's what you like to see.
Oh, that was a good tackle by Lucy. I think she's a little bit hard done by though. The umpire's called it against her.
And Rebecca Baker's got the ball. Turnover though. But doesn't it just show, even if, some calls may not be right in some people's eyes, showing that strength on the ball can turn a decision over?
Yeah, definitely. Oh, that's not a good play, but Tony's picked it up, so the Wanderers might have it here.
And she slipped it onto the foot. Can they keep things going through Shayna? Shayna's going to use her skill.
Good tackle by Hannah. Can she control it? Just take care of it here.
Back with Tony. Showing some aerial. That just passes it away. That's disappointing to see in a goal-scoring kind of attacking position like that, and they throw it away at the Storm as well. But it's still game on. 12 minutes left to go in the final game of the women's match, and the Storm are up 3-0. And Storm coming through. Nice bit of defensive play there from Emily Register. Rebecca Baker, we know she's got some nice little flashy skills. She looks back to Megan Phillips.
Yeah, I'd like to see Rebecca a little bit higher up the field. She's, you've seen the skills that she's got, and I don't know how much of the Premier League you watch, but she was great for the Falcons team. That's a nice ball.
Joe, I watched a lot of that Premier Hockey League.
Well, she was great around the edge of the D. She's got great skills, and she set that Falcons team up for a lot of goals. So for me, I'd be putting Rebecca high up the field, trying to get her to link with Phoebe, Shayna, Mariana, and those guys up there. So they get that connection. At the moment, she's deep in the field. She's just controlling the game, but I think she needs to be up there. If the Wanderers want to take this, 11 minutes now to go, they need to start putting those players high up the field.
They've done it with Phoebe Steele, and they need to, I suppose, keep that pressure going forward.
I'll let you on a little secret.
Okay.
Megan Phillips would be the one to put up there. We've seen her do it.
I've seen her play striker for a club in Auckland.
She can do it, and she scored goals from there.
She plays striker for Roskilde Eden, doesn't she? Gosh, who's their coach? Oh, is it you, Joe? Oh, right. But yeah, you're right. It's good to put some of those key players up front, especially when the ball is going up there. But, I mean, they're getting the momentum, the Wanderers, but they're just not being able to finish it off. So is that what you're saying? Put some of those key players up there so they can finish it off?
Yeah, well, no, not necessarily finish it off, but maybe put the other players into some better positions. But here comes Sienna.
She's got space. She should really use that space. Agreed on that?
Yeah. The space is there. Fatigue's hit, and the game's opened up now. So I expect goals to come because of that.
And just in that situation, I just feel Sienna had that nice pocket of no one was on her.
Mm-hmm.
She could have created something, either carrying on an angle in field or carrying out wide, allowing Shayna to pop in and around, and they're just not. I think they're rushing things, and they don't need to. They can create.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes when you see all this space in front of you and you see a player make a nice little lead, you sort of you wonder, do I pass it to them and make this happen, or do I just keep carrying and try and get a defender to just change their line a bit? So it is a tough decision to make when you're a player, and especially when you're fatigued. But we know Sienna can do it. We know that she can drive through into that space and find a nice linking pass. That's a good ball.
I think it's important, though, to remember players need to be creating these 2-on-1s on the field. All the way over the field. Doesn't matter if you're up here, but Shayna can get the shot away. But it doesn't matter if you're up in the attacking end, defensive end. Creating those 2-on-1s is what hockey's all about.
Yeah, with the speed of the ball and the skill sets we have now, like you have to create 2-on-1s around the field, otherwise.
Steele. Come on, she turns that over. Tony and Phoebe just look so alike, but yeah, it's Phoebe now. Phoebe Steele, can she keep it? She's gonna claim it's her free hit, but referee doesn't agree with that one.
No, it was a nice tackle by Lucy though. Lucy's a young girl in this age group, and she's really stepped up this weekend. So I think she's a player to watch out for. Like, she's got some nice skills here. She's quick, she can tackle, she's physical. It's just earned the free hit there. It's nice, cool, calm, collected play. They're 3-0 up. They don't have to play really. Yeah, but they've got to be careful.
Yeah, with 8 minutes left, anything can really happen. We've got bonus points in these matches, so if the Wanderers can manage to get a field goal, that etches them a little bit closer.
Yeah, 3-2 here, and Rebecca's on the ball now. She's higher up the field, which is good. See what she can do. She needs the space though. She needs the space to be opened up so she can carry into that D. Been impressed with Izzy today. She's stepped up in this game. I didn't watch the first one, but she's been quite a big contributing factor to why the Storm have been the way they have. She's marked Rebecca really well.
She has stepped. Well, I mean, in that first match we had Katie Dorr in the Wanderers, and she was quite a standout for them. And with her out now, I think it's given the Storm a bit of a chance to have some freedom in that midfield. But yeah, Izzy Gill, it's nice to see that she's got that variation even in the penalty corners with the drag flick, and she's showing that.
Yeah, that's a really key skill to have as a. Well, we certainly don't see it very often in the female game. So it's a great asset to have that as a female. So Izzy, she's been working on that. Here comes Rebecca.
Goes to Phoebe. Can Phoebe create something from this? She's still on the ball though, and she gets the penalty corner. That's about as good as it's going to get in situations like that, isn't it, Joe?
Yeah. So Phoebe she certainly knows how to have an impact on the game. She's got a good eye for finding that penetrating pass, and she's got some good skills, so it is a nice little play from her. I just would like to see her maybe push that to the person or keep carrying, back yourself a little bit more, but she's earned the penalty corner there.
Now, we saw a little sneaky trick from Jimmy Grant and the men's Wanderers team where they did the penalty corner. They dragged the ball out past the dotted line, which made it a field playing game where they didn't have to do a penalty corner. They could just do whatever to have a high strike at goal, but these guys aren't going to do it. But they need to get the ball in the net. Here's an open shot. Oh, gosh.
Yeah, that was really good play by the boys. Firstly, on the girls, though, that was a nice little 1-2 that Zoe and Phoebe had there, but it was a good save by Michelle in the goal. But, yeah, that was a smart play by the boys. I would be quite interested to find out who came up with it. I'm not sure
if it was Jimmy?
Well, it might have been Jimmy and Tori.
Just by pulling it out of the dotted line, it made it not a penalty. It
so then
stopped
they get
the penalty corner.
They get the opportunity to go for the 2 when they were 1 point behind. And that, I think if they'd scored that would have probably changed the game, because then they would have kept their keeper on. They were 1 goal up, and then it would have put the pressure back on the Storm team. So that's how quickly the game changes, though, because then they miss it, they take their goalie off, and then they can see 2 or 3 goals.
Oh, no. It looks like...
That is unfortunate.
Phoebe Steele carded. That could change things massively now, even more so. But, gosh, you can't stop the Wanderers. They're going to fight for it. Jasmine Maher on the ball. She's managed to keep it in. She'll do a little pop-in. Can she just use her skill to nut out?
4 minutes on the clock. I'm very surprised that the goalkeeper hasn't been taken off so they could have 11 field players, because imagine that extra player in those situations when Phoebe was running through then, or Lucy was having that shot just then. Imagine the extra player around the edge of the D or on the spot. At the moment, they don't have that. They don't have the extra player.
They needed... I am surprised too. It's not like the Storm have had much circle penetrations in the last kind of couple of minutes.
Great skills by Sophie Murray. She's in a free hit on the edge of the D there.
This is what they need. They really need to capitalise on it now. Goes out to Toni Courtesy. I think she's going to look for that free hit. And she kept that in. She did so well. Jasmine Mars kept it though, but gosh, how did that not go in the goal?
Some great skills along the baseline. That's a real clinic on how to carry along the baseline there by Toni. How has that not gone in?
I know. It's deflected off the goalie, gone back onto her stick. She's
to be fair, when was the last TV show
come on now.
On the JVC?
Good ball in from Zoe Summer. Jasmine Mar just was going for the one time. Did she have time just to trap and hit it? Maybe. But they're going for it at the moment, the Wanderers. They're leaving no stone unturned. Easy turnover for them.
2.5 minutes to go.
Sophie Murray, can she do something? Will she crash ball it in? She'll muscle her way in.
So it'll be quite interesting for us to ask the person in charge of the competition who the winner of this will be with the 2 girls teams, considering we had a 4-1 this morning?
Yeah, so
and now it's 3-0.
I'm very intrigued to know that, but yeah.
1 win each, goal difference tied.
Is it?
What was the score this morning?
It was
4-1.
Yeah.
And then 4-1, and now it's 3-0, so it's 4 each.
So we've got a penalty corner.
And we've got a penalty corner. So this, even if they lose, if they score this, the Wanderers will win
the Forgesson-Archibald Shield.
Yeah.
Gosh.
Do they know? Do you think they know?
I don't think they do. Joe, run out on the field and... I don't think they do
So it's all still to play for.
It is. But so they need to score a goal, is that what you're trying to tell me?
Yeah, at the moment it's tied.
Right. Oh, and that was wide. But so, if it is tied, Joe, do we go to a penalty shootout? You can't have 2 names on... Well, currently there is 2 names on the trophy, but you can't have 2 teams on the trophy.
Yeah, well, I will speak to the tournament administrators and see what the ruling has been put in place around this. But This has made things interesting.
It has. Shayna Narsai, she less than a minute on the clock. They just need to get this ball into the circle and create something. Good foot from Tony Cortesy. Come on, Tony, we need to get things moving and into the circle. Bit of a shove off the ball and it's in there. There's a sore hand here. One of the girls has gone down.
Is it Lucy Russ, possibly? Lucy Russ has gone down. Looks like she's taken a stick to the hand.
Yeah, it is the hand. I think she'll go off. They're really upping the ante at the moment. Sticks flying. Bodies on the line.
Yeah, so we're probably less than a minute away here from the game finishing.
So what will happen? Are we going to be seeing a penalty shootout?
No, I don't think
Shayna
so.
Narsai, come on, girl. And they just are so close to getting some action in there. Rebecca Baker, get a penalty corner, can she? Great skill yet again. You can always count on.
And the hooter goes.
Oh, and did you hear the crowd? Oh, they're not too sure on what's going to happen either. So it's all edge on your seat kind of stuff. That's it. Yeah, edge of your seat kind of stuff. It's a nail biter. Now, if the Wanderers can score and get a goal in this, this means they win the Shield. If they can't, well, on goal difference,
We're tied. We'll have to see what the ruling is.
Sienna Cowles swept in. Another PC.
Did the Wanganui.
That's right. The trademark. That's not yet trademark. The Wanganui, where they go to the closest player, they sweep it in. It was blocked, but they're trying new things. They've set up one bracket. And it goes to Tony. She sweeps it in. Oh, that looked like a... And we're just waiting to see what happens, and I think the referees will have a chat. But what a great day for some awesome hockey, hey?
That game, yeah, was awesome in the second half. Like the Storm did really well there to score that second goal and get the conversion. But the girls have done really well today. I've been really impressed with the standard. Like to have these 32 girls playing here today, just as a credit to them, they've worked hard over the summer on their fitness. They've worked hard in the short amount of time they've had training together. And it's just great to be able to put that on for these girls.
And of course, they're all sticking to, lots of elbow high fives, which is great to see in these COVID times. But it would be nice to know who the winner is, who has taken out the Forgesson-Archibald trophy. The next game is meant to start at 6 o'clock. So, we're yet to find out who has won.
All will be revealed at the presentation at the end of the day. So the girls will hang around now. They'll have a little bit of a barbecue and celebrate the day together. But yeah, I was impressed with that game. Like it certainly got better. The first quarter was a little bit scratchy, but definitely the second quarter when the Storm scored, the third quarter was great, and then the fourth quarter, I mean, the Wanderers could have scored 3 or 4 there to really pull themselves back into the game. So,
yeah, that's awesome. Well, I might head down and try and see if I can get some post-match reaction. But thank you, Joe, for your time. It's awesome, eh? Get the brain box behind this tournament, talking about great hockey being played today, and boy, was it a spectacle.
Thanks, Michelle.
Oh, yeah, cool. First of all, Sophie, oh my gosh, what an incredible match. That one up 3-0 and the Wanderers couldn't even score a goal. What did you guys do this time?
I think we just came out with a lot more fire. So I think in the changing rooms before we were actually really wanted to be here, and we made it worth it, especially after all the tired bodies came rolling onto the field.
Good. Incredible match just then, Sophie. 3-0 up and able to take the win over the Wanderers. What was different from that first match?
I think we definitely came out with a lot more fire, so we all had built up that passion in the sheds before, and we actually really came out firing, which helped quite a lot.
How was the body feeling? Because you surely mustn't be used to playing 2 big games in one day.
No, it's pretty rough. Winter hockey's definitely a winter sport. I think got a bit of sunburn on the shoulders, but the body's really, really feeling it right now.
What are you guys going to do to celebrate after that one?
I think Auckland Hockey providing some food and a bit of a drink, so we'll go up and probably just sit down for a little bit. Yeah. Nice,
perfect. I'll let you go and celebrate, but congratulations on the win this afternoon.
Thanks.
Perfect. And next person we have in is Tony. Tony, gosh, you were incredible out there today. Lots of nice little skills and managing to get the ball up into the circle and some shots at goal, but they just didn't come off.
I wasn't very lucky, was I? Yeah, it was a hard game today. I think, we struggled a bit in that first half, but we brought it back. But unfortunately, I think it was a bit too late.
What did you guys need to do differently? In that first match, we saw you absolutely dominate. In this game, what was the difference?
I think we changed our structure up a little bit, and the other team just came out firing, and we just weren't able to match it really in that first half, so that kind of put us on the back foot, and then we were trying to scramble to get our team back together, which we eventually did, but it was just in the last quarter of the game, unfortunately.
So it's 1 win, 1 loss, but I mean, still awesome to be out playing some hockey this weekend?
Yeah, no, definitely. I'll be resting tomorrow for sure.
Perfect. Now that's it from the women's match. We will have all the highlights uploaded as well, and we will let you know who the winner is, because that second match was a bit of a nail-biter where the Wanderers lost 3-0, the Storm taking the victory in the last match.